Good morning and welcome to the Courage Coalition. Today's solo cast is about money, you guys. February is all going to be all about money. You're going to hear from so many different people, whether that is experts, whether that is coaches, CPAs, accountants. There is so much money in this month's episodes. And the reason I really felt empowered to really bring this in February is because we're just now ending January. And let's face it, we're all like, oh, why did I do that again? Why didn't I just keep the promise to myself? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? And all that is shame. And shame is one of the most driving forces behind our money. And for years, I didn't understand that. I didn't know that shame was driving me, that old beliefs or other people's beliefs was driving me. Other people's values were driving me. Now, in retrospect, I can go back and look and I can say, you know what? Yet you stayed true in a lot of ways, but not in all ways, you guys. So many of us, I believe, we look at the shiny objects, the shiny accolades, the shiny people on social media, and we're like, we're never going to get there. We're never going to be that person. We're never gonna. But again, all we're doing is living in the shame. Too big for me, too smart for me. I don't make enough. But you guys, I want to get really real with you for a second. I want you to understand that Chad and I have not made very much money our whole lives. If you're talking about a dollar amount, we have not made hundreds of thousands of dollars. When I look around and I think people are out there and they're like, oh yeah, we make, $350,000. I almost choke a little bit. I've never made $350,000 a year. We have never made that. We have never made $150,000 a year, believe it or not. So I really want you to release that thought that I don't make enough, because there is nothing more undermining to your financial growth than that mindset. I don't make enough, so it's never going to happen, and I'm going to stay exactly where I am forever. I think this episode is going to hit you guys a little hard, and I'm not going to say I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. That's not the point. The point is that I want you to understand that I truly see you where you are. And I see that sometimes the debt or the lack or the beliefs or the mindset are exactly why you're still where you're at. So I did something, and I did something with no knowing. I did something with no prior experience. I just took a step of faith and I created a book. I created a book called Emotional Money. And Emotional Money is going to be self-published the end of February, because that's how I can do it. Yeah, I know that self-publishing is way harder than even hybrid or having a publisher do it 100%. But you know what else I know? I know that I can either let that money stop me, right? I could, that lack, not lack, because lack is definitely not wrong. The inability to come up with $10,000 right now to do a hybrid publishing stop me, or I could step into something that I know without a doubt more people need to hear. The second part of that is that when I am financial coaching with somebody, the impact, the aha moments, the knowledge that comes to them, not from a specific way, but from something they've always been doing and didn't even realize they were doing, is so powerful. But again, there's a lack of accessibility to that one-on-one coaching. Now, don't get me wrong. One-on-one coaching, as you know, is to me one of the most powerful things I've ever invested in. But I also know that some people just don't see that accessibility for them yet. Now, I think they will. I absolutely think they will. When they start on their growth journey, they're going to find it. So this workbook is literally the framework of my financial coaching. It is the framework of how we change how we've always done everything in our money, how we flip our mindset on its head, how we release those beliefs and values that do not belong to us. And you guys, when I talk about that, what I'm telling you is this: our beliefs that we were given, that we thought or we saw or we experienced happen when we were a child. And they're usually our parents or our grandparents or a teacher's beliefs. They're not ours. And one of the most powerful things I think I believe in my soul is a changing point in your money is to actually understand your own desires, your own values, and quit putting yourself in a box of this is the way money should be done. You guys, I love Dave Ramsey, but I think that he is also one of those people that put us in those boxes. And that is not a slam to him. It's just me coming back down to the knowledge base that we cannot all do money the same way because we are so different as humans. We are so different as souls. We are so different in what we cherish and don't cherish. I'm not going to tell you you shouldn't chase a number, but I'm going to ask you, why are you chasing that number? What is the reason behind it? If it's just to get to a number, I'm going to ask you some really tough questions because chasing a number isn't going to bring you joy. It's not going to bring you freedom. It's not going to bring you heart, love. A number is black and white. Why are you chasing that number? Why are you chasing that raise? Why are you chasing that title? Is it because that's what you were told or what you saw was success? Then my friend, I'm sorry, but not sorry. You are not going to feel successful when you get there. You're going to feel empty and you're going to feel like something is missing and you have no idea why. That is what this book is about. Emotional money is about identifying the why. Because if we don't identify the why, I can give you every plan. I can give you every forecasting project. I can give you every piece of what money looks like or stands for from a financial perspective, and it won't work. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with you. Because everything in life has a why. And if you're not clear on that, or if you're not walking that path in your own need, desire, wants, then it doesn't make sense and it's not going to work. So we go back to the whole thought process of shame and money. And I want to talk about this really deep for a second because we believe that, like I said, there's a financial plateau that we should get to, or a financial number we should get to be successful. There's a savings account number we should get to be successful. There's no debt. If you have debt, you're irresponsible. But let's be real for a second. We all have debt at some point in our lives. I actually have debt right now. And you know what? I am completely okay with that for many reasons. But the biggest reason is because I know why I'm in debt. The why behind the debt is worth every cent. The why behind the number on the debt makes complete sense to me. And I'm not talking to you guys about debt because it felt good in the moment. Like, oh, I went on a shopping spree and I'm debt, and now I have debt because I put it on my credit card because I didn't have money. That's not my why. The why behind a shopping spree for debt is much deeper than that. And I'm not saying shopping should not be a part of your value system. I'm asking you, why is it worth debt? Why is it worth not living in your values or your beliefs tomorrow because of that debt? So when I'm talking about debt, this is what I'm asking you guys. And this is not a shame thing. Believe me, I've been in debt from shopping. I've been in debt from frivolous spending. But I can go back now and understand that was because I needed to fit in. I needed to be seen. I needed to do it somebody else's way. Recently, I was speaking again on a stage, and immediately I almost went back to that old thoughts. Well, you must go buy this. You must go buy that because you have to fit in. And what came to me is no, you actually don't. You have to show up exactly as you are, because that's how people connect. And so for me, that doesn't mean a fancy suit. That doesn't mean a fancy, dress that costs $500. That means, what do I feel comfortable in? What represents who I am? Not just who I am as a coach, not just who I am as a mom and woman, but who I am. And I immediately went back to an outfit in my closet because I know that that represents me. Every piece of it represents me. And I can say even last year, I can remember going back and saying, well, this is what I should wear to fit in. You guys, it could be food. Everyone's like, that's silly. Nope, it's not. There are people that actually believe that eating out, going out, buying groceries from a certain store, having a budget that exceeds their limits in food is actually what means success. But why do you think that? What does that come back to? And again, I'm not saying it's wrong because it's not. It's just, why are you doing it? What are you giving up that means more to you so that you can do it? That's the question. So I have a client who loves Midas restaurants, right? Like, I've never been to one, but I can imagine it's just amazing. But that is his why. That is why he gets up every day and works as hard as he works. That is why he wants to save money. That is his why. That brings him more joy, more fulfillment than almost anything else in his life. Then it's fine. It's okay. We live in this culture of believing that because how we spend isn't the way the next person spends, it's right or wrong. It's that judgment, that grip. But when we understand our values, and I know you've heard me say it a million times, and I will say it a million more, because your values literally are they're the glasses into the lens into your soul, into your why. When you understand your values, like deep in your heart, everything else begins to make sense. And what I'm going to say right now is, and I've expressed this to you before, but I want to say it again, is that travel or adventure, unknown is really high on my values list. And looking back, I can see that even when I didn't understand values, even though when I didn't understand the need to live inside of our values, I understood that something drove me towards those, something pushed me towards those. And I can remember going back to when Chad and I were just starting and vacation being this high priority. The first time we went on vacation, Heather was only 2, my oldest. And so we were only 22. Yeah, because it would have been the summer after he turned 2, 22 years old. And you guys, you want to talk about scarcity mindset or poor, I'll go there. But we made it happen. And yes, it was a very simple vacation. And we were in a vehicle with another, with my mother-in-law and father-in-law. And so it was a very reasonably priced, but we made it happen because something that stirred in us that we knew we wanted to do that. And for a lot of people, they don't want to leave home. They don't want to go outside their community. And that is okay. But for us, it drives us, it pushes us. A few years later, maybe not even a few years. Yeah, it would have been about 4 years later. We went to Vegas for the first time, our first solo vacation, and something fueled me. And then a few years later, we went on our first family vacation after Kobe was born. And we worked so hard to make those things work, to make that an option. We knew what we would be getting back or paying for taxes, so we knew what would be coming. We saved, consistently each month, even when it was $20. That is one thing that I think we really have to understand, is that $20 is saving. And action is how we create a behavior. You guys, I don't care if it takes you 10 years to get to your goal, just do something. We can all do something, and a behavior isn't going to happen in one action, one chance. It's going to happen in multiple times of doing the same thing because it's important to you. Behaviors drive results. So we're not getting the results we want if we're not willing to change the behavior. And so I'm going to ask you, if 2026 is the year that you feel like something has to change, you can't keep repeating the same cycle and asking yourself this question year after year, then what are you going to do about it? What's the action? Is it going to be to go buy emotional money and work through it? And don't buy it and set it on the table. What's the promise you're going to make to yourself? Because I don't make this work accessible for you to buy it and set it down. Again, your behaviors define your actions. And so if you're going to just say, I'm going to do something and then do the same thing over and over again, then don't do it. It's a waste of your money. I'd rather you go out to lunch with your girlfriends or buy the drink or buy the shirt. Do something else. But if you are really ready to make some kind of change in your finances, and guys, here's the other thing. Yes, the book addresses our finances, but what the book does is bring clarity to something in your heart, in your soul, that actually changes everything. What is important to you? Why is it important to you? And what is it going to look like in the future? It can change your physical, your mental, your relational, your financial, your spiritual. It can change anything because none of that changes unless you understand your why. If 2026 is the year that you're taking a complete turnaround on your physical health, understanding the beliefs and values that drive the reason you eat or don't exercise or don't eat or exercise too much is key in changing that. Because you are so beautifully unique. Your stories, your experiences, your life, your dreams, they're yours. They cannot be done the same way or compared the same way to somebody else's. If there's not one thing you understand this year, I hope that is it. I pray that that is it. That you are uniquely created perfectly in the way that you were born. Go back. Remember what brought you joy. Remember what filled you up or made you like have electric currents going through your body, right? What are those things that make you stop and think? Or the things that make you stop and embrace the silence? What are the things that even when you do them over and over again, a few hours later, you're like, why? Why did I do that? Not in shame, in understanding. It's time to begin to understand who you are. For some of us, that's going to start in our physical journey. For some of us, that's going to start in our spiritual journey. For some of us, it's going to start in our relational journey. And for some of us, it's going to start in our financial journey. We all have those pain points that hit us the hardest, and we need to embrace those. We need to love those just as they are. No meaning, just evidence of what does this look like? Why have I continued this cycle? I want you to know that each of you, no matter where your circumstances are, no matter where you're at in life, you have an opportunity to change that if you want to. And this can mean the millionaire sitting here listening and saying, this does not apply to me. But I challenge you. I heard someone this last weekend at our conference, and you know what? She's a self-made millionaire, and she had a money story. We all have money stories. By choice or by design, we all have them. So ask yourselves, how hard am I willing to work? What behavior am I willing to change everything? Because when you do that, you're giving yourself the opportunity to change your mind. Remember, if part of this hit home, share, download, and leave us a review. Love you, mean it.